Welcome to the Grow Your Business and Grow Your Wealth podcast with Gary Heldt. Gary is an expert in helping business owners put together a plan that will provide a better future for their businesses, themselves, and their families. On the podcast, Gary interviews other professionals who share his vision, and together they share secrets and strategies any business owner can use to build a better financial foundation for your business and your life.
Welcome back to the podcast. Today, our guest is Sarah Carlson with Fulcrum Financial Group in Spokane, Washington. Welcome.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you so much for having me today. This is fun.
So what made you get into the financial planning and just finances?
Well, when I think back, I think I was always had an interest in money as a little girl. My father certainly taught me some fundamentals, but it was when I went to Yale University. I was a pre-med student, and I took one of Robert Shiller's classes, The Economist, and he just made it all seem so whimsical, and I just really thought it was fascinating, economics and then psychology. So I got college educated in both those areas, and knew that financial services was a good path for me.
Great. So tell us some about your path to getting to where you are now, being the president and CEO of your own company.
Yeah, I founded Fulcrum Financial Group about 23 years ago, but that was after I had been in the industry for a while. So I started off as an analyst and would do research. It was like getting paid to do homework. And it was the front people that at that time, financial services were different, and front people were more of salespeople, relationship people. And so I joined an insurance company and went through their training program, and grew up initially through that system. And then I decided it was really important that I wanted to be a fiduciary, and fiduciary always representing the client's best interest. And I didn't want to be an employee and have a contract. So I pursued getting my certified financial planning degree and sought out on my own to represent clients, and started my advisory business 23 years ago. Never looked back.
That's great. So when you meet with clients, tell us some things that you wish your clients would ask you that they don't.
I wish they would ask me more about how the financial services work and the different branches. I think there's a lot of misinformation out there, and somehow a lot of times people think an insurance salesperson is the same as an accountant, is the same as a financial planner, is the same as a money manager. And there's very different roles in the system. And it's really important that not only the professional that you're talking to be equipped to handle your situation, but
Right.
also that they have the firepower behind it. So firepower would be, looking at their record, how, what kind of track history. If they've been in the business 20 years, it's reasonable to make sure that in fact they have been in the business 20 years. Have they ever had any challenges along the way? There's a lot of public domains that you can check out the history of so the educational piece is really important. And then the liability piece, you don't want to, that's what I wish people would talk more about, rather than just, a nice person. There's a lot of nice people out there. There's also people that have the right tools to help you. I always think, would would I just want to hire someone that was nice to do my heart surgery? No, I really would want someone who's very well educated, has a lot of history, and has done a lot of heart surgeries before they do mine.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, because, we're licensed professionals, so obviously you can go to our states to look to see, okay, is this person licensed and do they have any complaints against them, and so forth. So, yeah, I agree with you. I think that's really important. I know that, many times as I pick up a client, I see the prior tax returns that they've been going to the same person for 20 years, and at the bottom it says self-prepared. It's like, oh boy, we're we're really in for some interesting times now. So it's definitely something that I always try to talk to the clients about. Also, is like, you want to get to know who the person is and why is it that you want to do business with them. I think that's something that's really important. You've been doing this for a while now. What do you wish that you knew that you know now that you knew it when you first started out?
I wish I would have known early on the importance of boundaries, and just you got to realize you can't solve every situation, but you can. So to be clear on the boundaries that you have and where you can really bring value, and for those areas that you can't be able to help someone be able to solve it and get them the right expert to help them or support in that area. That's what I wished I would have known early on.
Okay. What are some of the retirement strategies that you use to help your clients with?
I think the most important thing with any kind of retirement planning is to take action. Too many times people don't take actions in those initial steps. And it's important to it's a balancing act. So retirement should be just one part of an overall strategy for someone to reach financial independence. Retirement planning, there's lots of different choices where the government will give you certain deductions as a business owner or individual to encourage you to take care of yourself. But there's also trade-offs, and pushing out too much of your income to future years may not necessarily be the best way to serve an individual. So coming up with a very thoughtful, comprehensive plan of not only accumulating, but also enjoying their lifestyle.
What are some of the questions that you're asking your clients that I'm going to say that's kind of surprised them?
I probably ask more emotional questions that maybe some other planners do. I really want to understand some of the motivating forces for their relationship with money and how it serves them. I think it's important not just to invest people's money for the time horizon and risk tolerance, but for their emotional state of mind too. So what do I mean by that? When we hit market turbulation, a lot of people get very upset watching their account balances bounce around. Even though they're not going to use the money for 20 years, they lose sleep. And if that's the case, want to come up with a strategy so they can have peace of mind. I mean, ultimately, that's really what I do is I help solve problems, help create peace of mind and diminish the fears so people can live their best life and put their energy towards what's important to them.
So what are common mistakes that you see people make when it comes to finances before they come to you because you help fix them? But what are some of the common mistakes that you see people doing?
One of them I called elder abuse, but it's not really old people. It's when adults do too much for their adult children. That's why instead of child abuse, I tease them
Right.
elder abuse. So I've seen, unfortunately, clients try to solve their adult children problems and go bankrupt along the way. So having boundaries and helping young people adult and be on their own, I think, is so important. Also to have a perspective. So having an understanding, I mean, we are very passionate about educating our clients on the purpose of their money and helping them understand time horizons with it. So there's some of their pools of money should be opportunistic, so it can beat inflation, that it can solve for future goals, and some of it should be very conservative, and if it doesn't make any money, that doesn't matter. It's more of the buffer, the emergency fund. And so coming up with an overall game plan.
It sounds like you really try to be holistic in your approach with them to help them kind of, settle things in and try to get them to not be so scattered in what they're trying to do.
Exactly. So we have a very systematic process to help collect data and to help pull that information. We use technology then to help us monitor it. That technology helps us to do different what if scenarios. And it also is wonderful because it can help give an aggregate at any moment. These software can integrate with your 401k, your bank account, your retirement. So you can have like a dashboard and a snapshot. And then as a financial planner, I'm able to do different what ifs, like, oh, what if you take off for 3 years and go spend it in Italy? And what's that going to look like for your lifestyle when you hit your 80s? I mean, you can do different what ifs. So
Right.
that can be very powerful just to help people understand their options. The two questions consistently people want to know when they come in for retirement planning is, how soon can I retire? And then number two, how much can I retire on? And
Right.
so that seems to be a common theme most people have.
Right. So what are some of the biggest fears that your clients are having when they come into you initially, and how do you help them reduce those fears that they have?
Yeah, and a lot of times that's a great question, because a lot of times the fears are not tied to actually reality. One of them I called the bag lady syndrome. A lot of women worry that they're going to run out of their assets, it will dissipate, and they'll become a bag lady.
Right.
That tends to be more among our female clients. Our male clients, I think the bigger concern is that they would lose security in providing for their family, not being able to take care of their wife, their children, almost more prideful, having to lose the house because they made bad decisions, going into bankruptcy. Those kind of things would be more of a fear, so more of an embarrassment fear.
So how do you help them overcome these fears that they have?
Well, first you gotta be honest about it. We can't help someone build a strategy unless they can get financially naked about it and talk about it.
Right.
Everything we talk about is confidential. And then helping to take systematic steps. It actually doesn't take much of a shift to completely change your trajectory. A lot of times people think they're much worse off than they are. They forget about the power of their pensions or Social Security and how those actually go up with the cost of living. They forget that inflation is such a big impact over time. They also forget that life happens, accidents happen, they could medical costs in the future. So coming up with some, and what's nice is you can create pretty close to a bulletproof plan. I mean, there are things like insurance to protect against long-term care, and there are coming up with strategies where it's about helping people create freedom. So they don't have to live in that fear, and they can be more opportunistic. More times than not, I spend a lot of my time getting our clients to spend their money and give their money away
Right.
to whether you're charity, family, live their life. I've seen too many times people wait too long before they take that lifelong destination trip, and then by the
Right.
time they get there, they can't do it. Um, and I see too many people inheriting money later on in life when they're in their 70s and 80s, when they really, if they were in their 40s while they're raising their children. So a lot of, with our older clients, helping them just talk through strategies. So looking at those projections, um, showing them how their financial goals can be made and kept, even though they continue to do gifting or educate their grandchildren. That can be very empowering.
Yeah. So tell us how, because, again, if you ever turn the TV on, with taxes and with financial planning and everything else, there's all these robo places that, oh, they can do it for you type thing. But you really don't have that partnership with someone. So can you tell our listeners why using somebody, a professional like you is so much better than, trying to do it on your own, or just dealing with a robo service?
Yeah, my comeback is money doesn't solve money problems, but good advice does. And a robot software system is not really going to be able to handle your unique needs and be able to pivot and change. They're not going to be able to talk you off the ledge when the market drops 20% and you want to put everything in cash.
Right.
They're not going to be able to help you strategize with different options that are customized to your individual needs. I mean, even though there are common themes, we're all people with a different set of values and interests. And I think your financial plan should honor those differences and be to help be on your unique path, lift you up. A robot can't do that. AI can't do that.
I mean, I definitely, I preach so much about, that you need to have the right team to help you create the right plan for you. And I'm very much into, you have your professionals in each area, and you don't have one who's trying to do them all, because something's going to be missed. So in your, years of doing what you've been doing, what are some of the biggest takeaways that you've gotten from doing that?
Yeah, it's not only important to have an overall plan and work with your experts, but taking care of it over time is really, really important.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important to revisit and make sure you're aligned with professionals that you get to check in and make sure that your current needs and changes are being addressed. I mean, with you being an accountant, once a year the tax man comes. That is a good trigger. Due diligence for us is we want to see our clients at least once a year, and ideally more than that. And certainly in this day and age with telemarketing or video conferencing like we're doing right now, there's really no excuse not to get the attention that you want and have every right to expect from your professional. So that's the important piece for sure.
Now, you brought up kind of now type thing, going, we're all dealing with COVID in some shape, form, or another. What challenges has that brought to your business at this time?
Well, we're well situated to help our clients since we embraced technology before all of this. A silver lining has been more of our clients are now adopting technology because we've been able to train them. It definitely, the overall need for the human side has, it's given us an opportunity to really lean in. I do a lot of original content and blogging, and in this pandemic, I've been able to go deeper with clients because of technology and because they have the time and interest to have that attention. So, in a weird way, it's really helped. Our clients have actually thrived during this time.
Mhm.
It's been a lot of work. I mean, my staff and I have been working harder than I think I've ever worked. But this is what we do. We do heavy lifting when the going gets tough. We get going.
Right.
And
What do you see being one of the biggest challenges that you're going to face in the next year or two?
Definitely, I mean, short term, the strategists are really anticipating the recovery, having some tailwinds, but there's going to be some pain for small employers. And once the stimulus money steps out, I worry about people taking on more debt right now. Right now, with debt being so inexpensive, a lot of people are getting into real estate and new purchases, and they forget at the end of the day, if you don't pay it, I mean, your banker wants the money back. And
Right.
if they don't, they will take your house, they will take your car. So I worry about people overextending themselves, having this false sense of hope. And even with Robinhood and some of that online trading, it's kind of a false market right now of things moving. People aren't acting and doing things normally. So that I wonder how that's going to play out. So I think we're going to be in for some interesting times. Probably not short term, but over the next couple of years, we gotta pay for all this new debt we've taken on. So taxes are going up. I mean, things are going to change in a big way.
Yeah, yeah, no, I agree with you there. So what question have I not asked you yet that you wish I would ask?
That's a good one. What question would I ask? I think the listeners need to know that regardless of where you are at your life, there are like advisors like myself. We don't have minimums. We're just named Forbes top state 2021, the only advisor in my community. Most people have big minimums. We don't. I think people with our skills and talented shouldn't just help the wealthy get wealthier.
Right.
We are very inclusive and diversified. And so I think it's important that your clients be willing to take action and ask for help if they need help, to take action, because you don't have to. You probably have a lot of listeners that are probably missing out on opportunities such as 401k at their employer that gives a match, and they're not participating because they're paying off some debt, and meanwhile they could be doubling their money because not taking advantage of the free money. There's so many situations like this, and most financial people will give a complimentary consultation where you can share what's going on, and if they can't help you, they usually will help connect you with someone who can, and they should take advantage of that.
Right. That's some very good wisdom there. I agree with you. I think that so many people are afraid to ask for help, and we're professionals. We know what we're doing, and it's best to go out and find someone who is a professional that is good and that you can build a relationship with. So then that way you do feel comfortable if you need help to ask for it.
Exactly.
So, go ahead.
I wanted to just dovetail because people like you and me, we love numbers, and like it floats our boats.
Right.
Like when I go on vacation, I love like following, going deep into some stock holdings and following the market. I mean, for me, it lifts me up, and it's whimsical. So, and there's other people that aren't like that, right? So
Right.
hooking up with advisors like us, it's joyful.
Yeah, I think it's important to find somebody who's passionate about what they do. So if our listeners like what they're hearing right now and they would like to reach out and talk to you and get some advice, how do they reach you?
Yeah, they can. Our website is www.fulcrumfinancialgroup.com. That's FULCRUM financial FINANCIAL group.com. So, and phone number is 509-747-2075. But happy to help anyone with any of their situations for sure.
Well, Sarah, I really appreciate your time today. I think that you had a lot of great wisdom for our listeners. And again, if anybody needs help, Sarah's here to help them. So, Sarah, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Gary. Really appreciate it. Have fun.
This show has been produced by Market Domination, LLC. To discover how you can have your own show completely done for you and turn it into a real published book and become the authority in your marketplace, go to www.marketdominationllc.com/podcast offer.